I saw a lot of people saying that this movie was the best MCU movie since Avengers Endgame.
Best Marvel movie since Endgame.
Best Marvel movie since Endgame.
The best story in an MCU movie since Avengers Endgame.
One of the best movies since Endgame.
Truly special. Best Marvel movie since Endgame.
Best MCU film since Endgame. Shane, wait a minute. Do, do, do you think this is the best Marvel movie maybe since Endgame?
A lot of people are telling us that, aren't they?
Welcome back to Movies Good, Internet Bad. I'm the Void. He's Sentry. And this is our review
I
of
need to dye my hair.
this is our review of Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts, the latest MCU offering, as we're on the road to Avengers Doomsday, folks. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you like movies and TV shows. Go ahead and click that like button while you're clicking things. There are going to be some spoilers in here, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, please go ahead and check it out first and then come back and see us. But Shane, before we dive into the spoilers, what are your overall thoughts on this one?
My overall thoughts are, that I hate Marvel movies,
I do.
especially post Endgame.
I
And
do.
most of the time when I see movies like this, I'm sitting in my chair and the first thing I want to do is just leave. And
Yeah.
I'm just bored out of my mind. And for this, I wasn't. And so that is about as
Wow.
ringing of an endorsement as you can get from me. It's not perfect by any means. I have a lot of similar complaints to other Marvel movies, but I gotta say that like this one, they actually have a very competent story with some character arcs. Things make sense. It's shot well. The color grade is still the color grade. It is what
Yeah.
it is. But like the cinematography is fine. The acting is pretty solid.
Mhm.
And I thought the third act really stuck the landing. Like it
Oh yeah.
had some good emotional payoff there. So we like to joke about all the people saying it's the best Marvel movie since Endgame, but I kind of think it is. I'm not a big Guardians 3 guy.
Okay.
Generally, a lot of people really enjoyed that. You know, I'm I didn't love it as much as most people did. So I would say, yeah, this is probably the one that I was the most entertained with in this
Yeah.
post Endgame
So
era.
so let's think. Post Endgame, we had uh, Spider-Man: Far From Home, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America: Brave New World. I'm sure I'm missing a few. There have been a lot of movies that have come out in the MCU since Endgame. A lot of them not terribly well received. You know,
No,
you got your Ant-Man threes, the Marvels, Cap four, uh, bad critical scores, bad audience scores. You know, just not really hitting with people, and some folks started to wonder. Is Marvel out of gas? You know, where can they go from here? But it's nice to see that every once in a while they can sneak one past the filter of don't make a good movie and
yeah.
pump out a good one. And it turns out the secret is just to hire a bunch of A24 people to write, shoot, edit, compose, and do
See,
everything for the movie.
what's interesting though is like they've done that in the past, but I
Yeah.
think that there's been so much oversight from
Yes.
the corporation that like they just don't let them do whatever they want, and that's exactly how like Captain America felt. The last Brave New World felt
Oh.
like a corporate think tank piece where it was like 20 different movies from boardroom executives at once.
Mhm.
And there was no overall like message or theme or arc or any of that. And this felt like maybe it's kind of like an Andor situation where it's like these characters aren't really like our bread and butter, so like
Mhm.
we'll just let them kind of do what they want to do with it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that when this movie was first announced and they announced who was going to be in the cast, it's a bunch of B and C tier
Yep.
Marvel characters, you know, your Red Guardians or your Ghost or Taskmaster or whatever. Like, yeah, people love Bucky, people love Yelena, and you need some of those people to carry the film. But the rest of it is kind of like who, you know, like
Yeah.
you have to go back and watch Ant-Man and the Wasp to know who Ghost is, right?
Hmm.
Not a lot of people know, but I think you're right. I think they were given a certain degree of freedom because the stakes were not as high internally, not necessarily on the screen. Because I felt like the stakes were actually pretty gosh darn high in the movie.
Yeah.
But it worked out, and it's not like the thickest, most dense story material, right? But it has a coherent through line and a
Yep.
beginning, a middle, and an end. And like you said, the third act works really well, and because of that, that's the last thing people see, including the post credit sequence that is spoiled for you if you actually watch the credits and don't just stare at your phone while you're sitting in the theater.
I question
It's
why
fascinating.
that was the final post-credit scene, and because you could have avoided that by making it the mid-credit scene.
You just flip them and do
Yeah,
the
just flip
comedy
them,
one at
and
the
then
end.
you don't have
Yeah,
to spoil it, right? I don't know.
yeah, certainly interesting. But we'll talk about the post credit stuff in a little bit. But um, how'd you feel about you know performances here? I've seen a lot of praise showered towards Florence Pugh, who I thought was great in the movie. But
Yep.
there's great for the sake of great, and then there's great for the sake of Marvel. And I wonder, like in your
Yeah.
brain, how do you
No,
feel about
I,
that?
I do think a lot of this movie, a lot of the praise this movie is going to get is because it's so much better than other Marvel stuff that has
Sure,
been coming out. I don't think this is like a 9 out of 10 overall movie,
sure,
but in the scope of what has happened in Marvel lately, this is like much more of a return to form. I thought everyone was comparable, or not comparable, competent.
yeah,
Um, I thought Lewis Pullman was very good. Like he
yeah.
was probably my standout in terms of performances in this movie. I thought Florence Pugh was also good. I think it's also kind of hard with the ridiculous, goofy Russian accents that they're trying to do. That like it's hard to really like have dramatic moments when it's like, oh, it's Florence Pugh doing a Russian accent.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's
David
it's kind
Harbour
of how I
doing an
felt
even more
about
ridiculous one.
Tenet with oh god, who's Gilderoy Lockhart who in that movie. I can't think
Oh,
of his name.
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, he's doing like a ridiculous like Russian bad guy
Hmm.
accent the whole time. It's like, no, it's
Yeah,
just Kenneth Branagh. Like, come on.
yeah.
So I kind of feel the same way there. I did not, and this is going to be sacrilege because I love her and everything else, but Julia Louis Dreyfus, I love her in everything
Hmm.
except this. I
Really?
did not
Okay.
like her in that role. I
What
don't think that
what didn't work?
I just it almost feels like a miscast for me. It
Huh.
just she felt a little too goofy for the role, and like I didn't take her
Okay.
seriously, which that's her whole thing, right? Like it's to be that character. Like that's who she's been in her career, like Veep
Yeah.
and Seinfeld and everything. But it just didn't work for me here.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Interesting.
And I don't think it's necessarily a performance issue, but just like an actor match to the role issue.
Interesting. Yeah. I
But yeah,
she's a little bit
I hate saying that because like I love her as an
sure.
actor.
She's a little dialed down in this one than she was
Mhm.
in. Do you remember her in Wakanda Forever? It was
Oh
like
yeah, that's
it
right.
was
She is in that,
rough.
isn't she?
And
Yeah,
like so she's a little better in this, but I guess I can see where you're coming from. They're kind of going for the mustache twirling villain kind
a
of
little
thing,
bit.
and maybe they hammed it a little bit too much.
Her
But
entire role is just exposition, right?
yeah,
So, meh.
yeah, that was one thing in this script in particular that it didn't frustrate me, but it was kind of like a necessary evil because you're dealing with a bunch of characters that nobody remembers. So they had to explain everyone's history
Yes.
in the MCU via expositional dialogue in
Yep.
this movie.
Yep.
And it's like, I've seen all of those movies and shows at least twice. I'm like, okay, I know what's going on here. But to a general broad audience, this is the typical Marvel problem where you have to kind of beat people over the head because it's populist cinema, as Sean
Yes.
Levy likes to call it. So
Yeah, and it also runs into the issue that every Marvel movie has for me, which is they have like a quota where if 4 minutes and 59 seconds go by without a joke, if you hit 5 minutes, you have to say a joke.
yeah,
Like it has to diffuse the tension every single time. Now, granted, that's kind of why I like the third act because when they're in that well, I guess that's spoilers. So, but third act scene, they take
spoilers from
these
here on
little.
out.
All right. Well, anyways, in the third act, when they get into the void, it is played very seriously.
Very, yeah,
And like the stakes are high. It's pretty innovative filmmaking with all the different rooms they're going into. I loved all that. And like when
yeah,
that movie chose to lock in, I really enjoyed that.
yeah,
Leading up to it, where it's just like making a bunch of jokes and Hopper screaming, yay, and woohoo, like a lot. It's like by the fifth time he did that, I'm like, it's not funny anymore.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. Although I saw this with a full house,
Everybody laughed.
and everyone laughed.
I
So, I
will
mean,
say
mission accomplished, I suppose.
the only laughs that I heard, I would say my theater was probably like 75-25 male to women. The
Okay.
only laughs I heard were men.
Huh.
I did not hear
Okay.
a single female laugh throughout the entire joke or the entire movie, which I find funny because it kind of makes sense, right? Like it's aimed at like teenage boys. Like that's kind of the joke target audience.
Yeah.
And for me, like I don't know, like 90% of these jokes got zero chuckle out of me at all. Not even a nose exhale thing.
There were a
uh,
couple that got me good. I think there was one where David Harbour's character says to Florence Pugh, your brightness is darker than usual, and that's saying something given that you're
for
Eastern
Eastern
European.
Europe,
Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
You could tell there were some bits where the script was written by two different people, right?
mm,
The one person is a normal Marvel script writer that has written Thor Ragnarok and a couple of the other, I think Black Widow he was attached to. The other person is a screenwriter on The Bear and Beef from A24.
makes more sense.
And when you think about that, you can tell who wrote which parts
Yes,
of the movie
yes.
very clearly and evidently
Yeah,
when you see
I,
that.
I
So
I did not love any of the comedy in this. It was just to beat you over the head with it. But I've got the guy right next to me, like pounding the seat, laughing. I'm like, dude, it's not that funny. I promise it's not.
yeah, I like the serious stuff, and all the exploration into mental health and depression, and the fact that just because these people are super people that fight aliens and criminals, they still go through that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and they all had something going on, right? Whether it was Yelena feeling empty on the inside, Red Guardian being a bad parent, John Walker having his wife and kid leave, like Bucky, well documented. He was a
Yeah,
assassin for like 40 years.
I
Um,
will say one of the jokes that made me laugh is where he's like, "I'm fine. My backstory is great." I like that. Yeah, I
yeah,
like
I've
that
had a good life. It's okay. I'm fine. But that all that stuff, especially coming after the last couple of years where the pandemic did a lot of damage to people, and a lot of folks have had a lot of trouble kind of finding themselves again coming out of that and reintegrating back in the world. Uh, the scene at the very end when they all give Bob a hug, and that's the thing that pulls them
yeah,
all out of the void. Really well done. I
yeah.
absolutely adored that.
Yeah, I loved all that. But it being the villain in this is not so much a villain as much as it is like mental health,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah,
newish for Marvel. It
for
kind of
sure.
felt like Frozen 2, where there's no real villain. It's just depression is the
I like
villain.
this a lot better than Frozen 2, but
Oh well,
that's
yeah.
neither
I
neither
hate I
here nor
hated
there.
Frozen 2, but
Um, but yeah, man, in that third act, when they were going from room to room and they did the
hmm
90-degree camera
yeah,
tilts to kind of
liked all
like
that.
all the visual style, the language that they created, it was interesting though because I was thinking about it last night after seeing it, and there aren't a ton of set pieces.
No,
There's the vault at the beginning, there's the desert, and then there's what used to be Avengers Tower, and then the Void, and that's really it. So like they
yeah.
were able to be very economic. I'm sure that this movie cost significantly less to make than Captain America: Brave New World did with all its reshoots and everything.
Well,
So
it'd be impossible to be more expensive than that, right?
yeah, um,
Thunderbolts was 180 million, by the way.
okay,
That's
yeah.
the
So and I think
uh,
Cap was at least 250, not counting a lot of the reshoots and whatnot.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so that's good. I
uh,
mean, I think that helps between that and good word of mouth,
mhm,
economically speaking. I think that this movie will do pretty well at the box
yeah,
office. And Marvel needs it right now because we're ramping into the Fantastic Four First Steps movie, which comes out in July,
and was
and
the
then
post
Avengers
credit
Doomsday,
sequence.
the spoiler post credit sequence. So how did you feel about that? Because like you're not
I
typically a
don't
post credit
care.
person.
Like a post credit scene telling us that the Fantastic Four will be introduced into the Marvel universe is completely unnecessary. What's the We know that.
So here's why they did it, because my theater cheered
Well,
when
yeah,
it happened. That's the
yeah,
reason
but
why,
it's
right?
the dangling keys thing.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
It worked for my entire theater. People were pumped.
yeah,
And they showed the Fantastic Four trailer before this movie, and everybody was into it. So I thought that was interesting. One thing I found out later on was that the Russo brothers actually directed that post credit stinger, which is
That's why it looked worse.
Jake Schreier, who directed this movie, was like, "Yeah, I was there when they filmed it, but I was not the one who filmed that, and it was
Got it.
done attached to pre-production of a movie that's shooting now, and there's only one Marvel movie that's shooting right now."
Got it.
So that's certainly interesting, but it was kind of neat to see a post-credit sequence where they're actually starting to lay groundwork for a future movie and not just have it be something for the sake of something.
Yeah.
This establishes there are going to be two different teams of Avengers because obviously at the end of this one, the Thunderbolts are the new Avengers, but
Thunderbolts asterisk.
right, the asterisk is the new Avengers with a Z apparently, according to the Red Guardian. That one got a laugh out of me. Um, but Sam Wilson's forming his own Avengers team. The Fantastic Four are coming in, the classic X-Men are coming in, and they're all going to be fighting Doctor Doom, which is where
Yeah.
we're all going with this. So,
And I wonder if there's going to be some sort of a Doctor Doom teams up with some of the Avengers and not others, and it's like Civil War again, but now they're led by somebody, and
yeah,
I could
but
see
they're
that
getting
being where it
manipulated
goes.
by the
Yeah.
bad guy or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
kind of.
it's Tony Stark. No, it's not. I don't know, something like that. But
He's got a
I could see that
recognizable face.
happening.
We all
Yeah.
love him. Let's work with him, and then he's the ultimate asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I do want to point out one other thing visually. The Void stuff was all super good,
yeah,
like visually, like everything
yes,
turning black, the black shadows. It had one of the more shocking shots that I've seen in a Marvel movie where they just disappear that kid.
a kid.
I
Yeah,
was like, oh my god, did they just do that? But
yeah,
on the back of my brain was also like, they can't kill a kid in a PG-13 movie like that.
right.
So
Yeah.
that kid's not actually dead.
Yeah, but it was quite shocking because it was
Yeah.
right after she got saved, and Red
Yep.
Guardian gets down to her level and says, "You're safe now," and then poof, gone. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that's good stuff." So, yeah, I mean, overall, I was very happy with it. I hope it
Mhm.
does well, and I hope this is, you know, Marvel kind of turning a corner. I mean, between this, Daredevil did pretty well on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
The last couple months, and they have a really big property with Fantastic Four coming in July before it's time for an Avengers movie already. So, uh, my hope for them is that they're on the right track and
Yeah.
that the movies don't regress back to where we were a couple years ago.
I'm hoping that I don't have to see 10 more movies where I want to just die in the theater. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for your sake, I hope so as well. And I think that's a great place to end this video. So we'd love to hear from you. If you guys have seen Thunderbolts, drop us a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. What did you like? What didn't you like? Did it work for you? How are you feeling about the future of Marvel? Let us know, and we'll answer all those comments that come through. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked it. We are covering The Last of Us weekly. We are covering Andor weekly, and we're getting into the summer movie season, so there will be more movie reviews. Gosh, there's a lot.
Mission Impossible, a
Mission
couple weeks away.
Impossible,
Yeah.
F1, Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four. There's a whole lot coming. So be on the lookout for all of those videos and so much more. Until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.